Hello, welcome back everyone. Now in this session, we're going to discuss about PySpark question that was asked in Deloitte, as well as this is a real world use case. As you can see that we are having various dates here. So we need to handle dates and let's assume that like how this question will be beneficial for you as a project perspective. Let's assume that we're having a process table which have process ID, their name, their status, start date and end date. What business wants in output? They want a single row for each product ID based on their name, status, and they want start date and end date should be clubbed in an array. As you can see that we are having start date as 25th of December 25. But in date range, we have clubbed it in an array with start date and end date, and the date format has been changed. Okay. So let's pause this video for a few minutes and try to think like how you will approach this problem. Okay, what you will do in first step and so on. Let's solve this problem. So first of all, I have created this data frame as df1. So let's see that. Now we will deep dive into this problem when we're dealing this kind of question, this kind of problem statement in which we're having date column. So first step we should do is we need to understand like how this date looks like. Means what is the data type for this date. So how you will do this? We'll use df1 dot print schema. As you can see that the start date and end date is of string type. So we need to do the changes in the start date and end date. So how we will approach this problem? So step one will be like we need to convert this date, start date, end date that are in a string format to a date format. Then we will pick up this date format, date one, and we'll do the changes like the format that is needed, like YY, MMDD, and so on. And after that, we will create an array for it and we will group by. So let's do this problem step by step. So step one, I'm using df2, means I'm creating a df2 and using df1. What we want to use in df1? We want to change the dates that are in a string to a date format. So I'm creating a column with the help of with column and the name like for start date, giving it a start date underscore tt. Okay, and what I want to do means I want to change the format like it's a string to another one. So what I want to use? I want to use to date. Okay, to date. For which column I want to do the changes? It's for start date. And what was the format that was given to us? It is dd mm yy. Similarly, we will create a new column for end date. So let's copy this name and use it. Okay, here the name will be end date. And what the logic we want to implement? We want to create a column for end date. Okay, and the column that you want to use is p underscore end date. Let's see that df underscore 2 dot show as well as their schema. Okay, I'm getting an error like df underscore 2 is not defined. Yes. So the dates that was earlier in a string type now it is changed to date type. Now step 2. Now we are having dates in date format. Now we need to do the transformation, means formatting to a respective date format. So I'll create a df3. Gonna use df2. We'll create a new column for that. And the name that I'll give him is like start date fmt because I'm doing a formatting kind of stuff. And the logic for this will be means which function we're gonna use. Just think we're gonna use date format for this. Okay. date format. And in which format, which column we're gonna pick up is that we're gonna pick up start date. And what is the format that is needed? The format that is needed is given in a problem statement. Is YYYMMDD. So let's write this. Similarly, we want to create for and date. So with column, we were getting error because the code was not written properly. So this is the column that we need, and the name will be and date, and the logic will be same. Only we're gonna do the changes for the column name, like date format and all of the stuff. What we want in output is that, like, okay, this with column and here, this with column, the date format, the column should be and date one. Let's remove this and let's execute this. Oh, we're getting an error, and this is for with column. So C should be capital here. Now let's execute this. df3.show. Yeah, we have created two new columns here, and that is for start date and end date, and we have given name as start date fmt and end date fmt. Now step 3, we want to create an array for it. So step 4, we're going to use data frame 3. So we want to create an array for it. So how can we create an array? So we want to create a new column. Okay. So let's do this with column date range. We're gonna use array. Like in this array, what we want the start date, call. We're gonna use and date here. Okay. Let's execute this and see the output. df4.show. Okay. Now we have created the array for the date range, but as mentioned in the video, when we started this, we want a respective columns only, like product ID, process name, and the date range. So how can we do this? So for selecting appropriate column that is needed, we're going to use select. The column that is needed is product ID, or we can say process ID, process name. We want P underscore status, and what we want, this date range that we've created. Okay, yeah. So we have now one, two, three, and four columns. Now step 4, we have entire step. Now we need to group it. So let's create an df underscore result. We're gonna use df.4. Which operation we want? We want group by. Group by on which basis? Group by on this basis. Like we want this column. Okay. And after that, we need to do the aggregation. Aggregation means we want this date range should be clubbed in one. Okay. So we write aggregation. Okay. And after the aggregation, what we want? We want like this entire date range should be clubbed in one. Okay. So for that, the function that we're gonna use is collect list. Okay. Let's use that. Collect list. Okay. And in that, the column that we're gonna apply is its date underscore range. Okay. So it's done. Let's do this and see that what will the output and how can we change this if it's needed. Like df.result show. Yeah, it's done, but the column name is not looking good to me. Okay, so let's do the changes also. And we don't want date range because it's not doing grouping here. Okay, means the grouping is missed, the name is missed. So first solve this. Yeah, the grouping is done. Now we have two problems. The name is not correct. So for that, what we're gonna use, we're gonna use aliases for this. Okay, so select list the column. Okay, dot alias as date range. Let's see that. Okay, but we are not seeing the entire list. Okay, so we need to pass this truncate equals to false. Okay, yeah. Now we are seeing the entire result. Like for process ID one, the name is sales, the status is in progress, and the entire date range. So we have solved this problem in four steps. So let me revise this question for you. So this was the problem statement that was given. Like we are having the process ID, name, respective, and we want to club the date range. So first of all, we have seen the data type, what was available in that. After that, we have changed the data type to date one, like it was string. And after that, we extracted the columns, like in which format we want, with the help of date format. Like we want YY, MMDD, and so on. We've extracted that. Now after that, we need to club it. Okay. So first of all, we have created an array for it based on start date and end date. Once we are good with that, then we apply the group by operation. And in the group by operation, we did the changes like the alias, the name of the column, as well as we pass the parameter for truncate as well. So yeah, that's all about this question. Thanks for watching this video. If you're able to understand this problem, please like, share, and subscribe among your friends. And let's stay tuned for the next question. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.